Good morning, everyone. My name is Thelma Scott, and I'm the founder of Safe Diversity, and also I'm the founder of Embracing Diversity Show and the host. Today we have a very, very special show today. I have some wonderful guests that you're going to be hearing from today. But just want to say to everyone, good morning first. This is the day is the day that was not promised to us. And we have to remember, tomorrow is not promised to any of us. So we want to be able to love everyone and make sure that you tell everyone you love them. Smile. A smile can change anyone's heart. They see you with a smile. So let's smile, everybody. Today is a wonderful day. All right, I'm going to let one of my hosts introduce themselves. And this lady is very special to me. I'm sure she's special to a lot of people here in Houston. At this time, this is my city councilwoman, District B. Go ahead and take it away.
Good morning, Ms. Scott.
Yes.
Okay, so you want me to introduce myself?
Yeah, I want you to do it. Yeah, I want you to do it.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Councilmember Tarsha Jackson. Here we go, Councilmember Tarsha Jackson. I'm Tarsha Jackson, and I'm also the Executive Director of Urban Community Network. We're a nonprofit organization that our goal is to build safe, sustainable communities where youth and their families thrive. I haven't always, Ms. Scott, haven't always been in politics. I'm a community organizer, parent turned activist turned council member.
Yes.
Started fighting for my son, special needs son, was jailed in his elementary school when he was 10 years old.
Yes.
And that arrest led him to spend a total of 5.5 years in Texas juvenile jails. And so, like any mother, my child was my priority. So I went from being a working mom to a parent advocate, fighting for our kids. And as a result of my advocacy efforts, was instrumental in getting legislation passed that prohibit counties from jailing kids on Class C misdemeanors.
Yes.
We established the first ever Parent Bill of Rights. And over 2,000 kids were returned back home into their communities within one day. And so that fight is what got me here. That's the trajectory that got me here to where I'm at today, fighting for our kids. Once I learned about a lot of issues impacting our communities, not just juvenile justice, but the needs for quality schools and workforce development and housing. I couldn't go back. I was in mortgage lending. I couldn't go back to mortgage lending. I had to stay and advocate for my community. And so
and I pushed to you guys.
Yeah, I think
yes, I did. I let her go back into it.
I always say I couldn't have made it here. I was just saying that this on Saturday we were at the event together.
Yeah, we was honored together.
It takes we be in these
It takes
fights,
a village.
but it takes a village. It takes a lot of support to help us, get through. It helped me get through the difficult times, because as I'm fighting for my son, I'm missing my son. I'm wanting my baby home, but as a mother.
But you was fighting for all the mothers.
I was fighting for all the mothers, so that's why I'm here. That's me.
Yes.
And I represent the beautiful district, District B.
Yes.
District B covers Acres Homes, Greens Point, Willowbrook, Humble, Alport, Northeast, all of Scenic-Wood, Fontaine, Scenic-Wood, Houston Gardens. You have Lakewood, Pleasantville, Fifth Ward, Crashmill Garden, Trinity Garden.
Lakewood,
the
my
best district, the best district in the state of Houston. So it's a blessing to represent our people. Yeah.
I love it. Did y'all hear that word? I say it all the time. Then I said it, the best district in Houston, District B.
District B.
I want you to tell them a little bit about what you do for some of the nonprofit organizations in District B.
Yeah, okay, so I'm excited to share about the amazing work we're doing in District B.
So we got checked yesterday.
Yes,
we got checked yesterday.
Yeah. So when I ran for office, because, when my first nonprofit was Texas Families of Incarcerated Youth, and a lot of the work that we did we did a lot of great work, but there was no resources to fund, so I funded my own advocacy. And so I said, when I ever get in a position to be able to influence resources to go to nonprofits, which are our villagers, to support what they're doing, I was going to do it. And so, ran for office. I launched the Be Successful Community Capacity Building Initiative, which is the comprehensive approach to addressing poverty and improving the quality of life for residents throughout District B.
Yes.
And we take on 5 challenges: workforce development, public safety, capacity building for our nonprofit organizations, improving quality of life, and economic development. And so like this week was great in District B for be successful. We had a job fair on Thursday yesterday.
Yesterday. I was busy on yesterday.
Hundreds of people showed up, and these are second chance jobs that we were connecting people to.
Right.
So we have a job fair every like 9 to 10 months out of the year. Right. So that's is to get face to face. We have employers there that hire on the spot. Right. We have the city of Houston, you know, from Metro, the Parks Department, the Health Department. We've gotten hundreds of people connected to jobs to be successful. So yesterday was great. Yes. And then also we gave out resources to nonprofit organizations.
Gave us a check on yesterday.
A variety of services. So we gave out checks. And I'm always giving out checks. Not just with Case for Kids, but through my district service funds. I run another small grant program to where we support nonprofits that are our anchor organizations that have navigators. We're able to get the $2.5 million for credible messengers. So you got people,
for also the at-risk youth.
But all this is to serve our at-risk youth and young adults. And when I say youth, like I was considered a youth when I was 21 years old. That's the way I look at it. So we're actually serving not just kids that's 10 years old. Well, we're from 10 to 32. We're serving our young population, and just making sure they connected. Our credible messenger program, which are paid mentors, that's where we got the $2.5 million. They're out working with at-risk youth and young adults, mentoring them, connecting them to jobs, helping them through, be successful in school. The whole initiative is be successful, because we want everybody to be successful. And so I'm just excited about what we're doing in District B and the partnerships that we formed, and working with Safe Diversities. You guys are this critical piece, as I mentioned earlier. My son with special needs, and so it's always good to have organizations that's their primary focus is to make sure that these special kids with special abilities get the resources and the services that they deserve. And so thank you for what you do, Ms. Scott. Y'all know I can talk forever, so y'all better tell me to shut up, take the mic, because I will keep talking, because there's too much great stuff going on in this.
I told her I want her to come in. I want her to talk. They gonna talk, but I want her to talk, because a lot of people really don't know what she does. She works 24/7, you guys, to make sure that these programs are successful, and people, like she said, be successful. She want everyone, not only in her district, you guys. She worked outside of her district. She to go above and beyond for the people.
And then what people don't realize, when we say elections matter, it's like when you elect a person, think about what their full-time job is, what their work is. And so like my full-time job has been nonprofit. I was over at TOP. You know, we did a lot of work around there, around advocacy. And so my full-time job is Urban Community Network. And so the residents in District B have someone fighting for them around the clock. Nothing against lawyers, nothing against dentists, nothing against these people that have to go away and do, but realtors, they got their thing, but my niche is like working in the community. So you getting a 24-hour around the clock person thinking about how am I improving the quality of life for the residents in District B. And so so I'm excited. We're going to be partnering with the Texas Workforce Commission.
All right, I love it.
What is it called? Dislocated workers.
Yes.
And so we're going to, I just signed a contract with them where I'm going to be hiring 58 young men and women to come out in District B to help us get it cleaned up, to address the flood mitigation, and then in the same time they can get training as they're getting paid $25 an hour. Yes, I know. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm really excited.
Bring them out. I love it.
Yes, and then we have a partnership with the Sheriff's Department where we're going to have credible messengers and a navigator in the sheriff's in the jail, county jail, and we're going to be helping people get training, CDL training, in the class training, and then as they transition out, we have them connected with employers where they can just go right into the job. Because if we're going to address any issue within our community, and when I came in office, I said it and I said it again, we have to address poverty. We can't we can keep doing, we just putting Band-Aids on it. We have to address the underlying issue of poverty in our neighborhoods, and then once you address poverty, and that's when you're going to see the illegal dumping, all these other issues, the flooding, all that kind of like mitigate.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, at this time, I'm going to let Dominique introduce himself, and he's going to tell you a little bit about him and what he does, okay?
Oh,
Okay,
sure.
take it away,
Ooh,
Mr.
all right. I love it.
This is my friend right here.
Okay.
Yeah, my name is Dominic Chacon. You can call me Dom, Dominica in Spanish as well. I am a Houston resident living here in the East End is my district out there. But I'm part of an organization called Texas Campaign for the Environment. And we're a statewide organization that's out to sort of address the never ending expansion of oil and gas in our regions and our communities, and really confronting polluters and really trying to seed solutions, right? What are the actual things that we should be investing in? So super grateful to be here and have met Dr. Scott through some advocacy and organizing with youth in mind, and really centering the people who are really going to be inheriting the decisions that we make today. In the environmental movement, there's a idea called environmental justice, and it's really stemmed out of the civil rights movement. And TSU, Dr. Bullard is a huge leader in that realm of environmental justice, and part of one of those principles is to really focus on the communities and the people who are directly impacted. And I know in Houston, Texas, it's a hard thing to talk about, but we have to talk about it. We have to talk about the impacts of these industries, not only in the short term, but in the long term as well. And especially as it impacts our youth, right? One of the principles in environmental justice is that we are disproportionately dealing with the impacts of something that everybody uses, right? And if it's so important that everybody have it in society, then we need to be making sure that we don't just put the negative impacts on one community, right? And the same principle also exists for the youth, right? The youth are going to be inheriting not only the short-term consequences, but the long-term consequences, financially as well as environmentally and public health-wise. And so that's our motivator. I'm originally from El Paso, Texas, which is all the way West Texas, a whole different time zone. But my motivation in this organization is to really connect our struggles, because out in the West Texas Permian Basin area is where they drill all the gas and the oil, and it gets shipped over here to Houston to be processed and then to be redistributed across the globe. So our struggles to have our right to an environment and clean air and clean water are connected, and that's what we're here to do. And so one of the things that we're on here to push and promote too is our gathering for future generations. So this is in response to a large oil and gas conference that happens here every year in Houston, Texas, called Sarah Week. And if you're like me, who heard about it for the first time, I'm like, who the heck is Sarah? Why does she have a whole week?
Explaining what Sarah means.
Yes, it becomes this whole comms challenge of explaining what they're doing. But Sarah is basically an acronym, CERA. Cambridge Energy Research Associates, and it's this giant conference put on by S&P Global, this finance conglomerate. And basically they bring together large oil and gas industry CEOs, bankers and insurers and financial institutions from across the globe, and government officials from across the globe to come to Houston to talk about what are we going to do with our projects in the upcoming year. And so normally there's been lots of people who try to go in to kind of resist, but also to learn about these projects so that we can organize and inform ourselves as the community. But last year, and also just to know how bougie this conference is, it's $10,000 just to get a ticket into this conference. And that's the nonprofit level. That's the nonprofit level. So there's some other higher price tickets out there for access, right? But last year, a few organizers from Houston and along the Gulf Coast fundraised and got money to buy those tickets to get inside and just have a seat at the table. But they were denied entry based on who they are, their connections to community. And so really we're being locked out of the room where these decisions are being made about our community. And that is anti-democratic, anti-transparency, and anti what many of our organizations and our movements are fighting for, right? We need more access, not less. So we are forced to not only assemble on the outside, but we don't want to just be seen as protesters who are protesting against something. We have our own vision. We have the future that we want to be centering. And so that's why we put together our 2-day event. So we have our Sunday for the Future, which is happening this Sunday, March 9th at Discovery Green Park from 12 to 6 p.m. And then we're having a march for future generations the very following day on Monday, March 10th. And the march is going to be to the conference center where it's happening, because we want them to know that we see them and they see us. But Sunday is a completely family-friendly, fun event. This is we want to serve as an entry point for people who are coming into this movement, and to learn about all the incredible people and like all the orgs you just mentioned that are doing great work, that are building solutions and fighting vigilantly for their kids. But the March for Future Generations, the next day, is where we are going to exercise our constitutionally protected right to peacefully assemble, to peacefully demonstrate, and show our opposition to these people that are making these decisions. And so we also have the Post Houston, which is that old post office downtown Houston. We were able to get a room there for the entire week. So we're going to have other programming to teach people about carbon capture, right? What is this new technology? Hydrogen, fossil fuel solutions, supposedly. So there's lots of opportunities to get connected. I encourage everybody to go to futuregenerations.earth to look at who we are, what we're doing, why we're doing it, and then to get access to our week-long set of events. Thanks for having us.
I just want to say I'm getting a lot of my mothers. I have about 175 in a group that I work with, and all these mothers are mothers with kids with disabilities and autism. But the main thing that I'm explaining to them, we are fighting for clean air, clean water, and a healthy and safe environment to live in, right? Because I live next door to a Superfund site, and they know what a Superfund site is. Superfund site is where pollution is, and there's underground storage tanks there that's killing us there. I live in a senior citizen facility, and we've lost 13 members there with cancer, all kind of things. So once you know about what you're living next to, you know how to take care of yourself better. Because I'm blessed today, because I am recovering. I am in recovery from breast cancer for the second time. So you have to know what's around you. I got breast cancer when I was 34 years old, early age. I grew up in Missouri County, you guys. That's where I grew up. And I've been sick all of my life. When I was 5 years old, from 5 to 12, I had to have my brother give me a blood transfusion. I lived near the tracks. Now, if you know about Missouri County, it's the what? #1 pollution county in Texas. And I lived there, I grew up there. So I've been sick, but not understanding. But now I'm educated, and I'm educating my family, everybody surrounding me. What are we fighting for? All these things we're fighting for: clean air, clean water, and a safe environment to live with, right? Because you have to know that and what's around you. You know, I have one of my workers that work with me, her mother's sick all the time. Her nephew has cancer. Her mama is ill with asthma. She can't breathe, but they live right near a concrete batch plant. Didn't even know what that was. So once you learn, you know how to take care of yourself better, because it's so important to know about environmental equity and climate justice. And I'm teaching it every month. I'm teaching it to my people that's a part of me, to know that you're fighting for clean air, clean water, and a safe and healthy environment to live in. That's what we're fighting for. And I thank the council member for involved in that, because that's so important that we know. But you have to educate yourself, right? Yeah. You're not gonna know what LNG is. You not know what fossil fuel is. You not know what these campaigns what we're fighting for, right? If you don't learn and know the acronym, because a lot of them don't know the acronym. So we teach the acronym because you have to know. And then I am so blessed. But I just buried my sister. She lived in Fifth Ward. I just buried her the 1st of January, and then 2 weeks later, her son was autistic, dealing with asthma, and he died 2 weeks later. So you have to know what you are. If y'all know about Fifth Ward, you know what's going on there. My sister lived there most of her life, and she was on dialysis for 10 years, and she died. And I was just educating them, you know, a couple of years before she died, on you have to know where you're living and what's around you, right? You're fighting for clean air, clean water, and health and safe environment to live in. That's so important. Okay, sweetheart, I'm going to let you tell who you are. Since before I go, I can just go on and on when you're talking about environment, just because, listen, I'm live. I'm blessed, because I am so blessed. You guys, when I look back over 2024, you guys, I don't look like what I went through, but I went through a lot, but I never gave up. I kept my shows every month. I kept going out whenever I could, but you guys, I had a hard time. I want to tell you that because radiation set me on fire, right? But I thank God had me in the palm of his hand. I thank God I'm here to tell my story.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
Go ahead, darling.
Before I even start, can I just say thank you? Like, y'all have fed me this morning. I will be honest, I was not in the best mood. I was like, oh, I don't want to get up. Whatever. All the things of a Friday morning. And to hear y'all speak and talk about the work that y'all been doing in the community and the people that y'all have been fighting for.
Step in here.
It has been... I'm like, oh, this is exactly where I needed to be. Like, no doubt about it at all. But for those who don't know me, my name is Anika Chunga. I'm a lead regional organizer with Texas Campaign for the Environment. I just started, I want to say, in November. And really, I come from a background in community organizing, so all the things that you were saying, it really spoke to me. I'm from West Oakland, California, born and raised. I've probably been organizing since the 7th grade. Like, quite literally just going to programs and a mentor or a leader or an activist in the community are just simply asking us questions. What do y'all want to see that is different? Like, what are the things that are happening and what do y'all want to see? And in return, giving us the power to actually change it. Like, we're like a bunch of 7th through like 12th graders just sitting for a summer program, and now we're over here creating video campaigns and or marching down to the local things that they have going on at the parks and stuff like that we never even heard about. So it is amazing to know that I'm in a place of folks of good spirit and like mind, but also just producing good stuff. Like, that's amazing. So I'm very happy to be with Texas Campaign for the Environment. And I'm extremely happy to be talking about Sarah Week and our Sunday Fun Day event. It is family friendly. I am very excited for it. It is going to be an amazing DJ Ari. For the folks who may know her, she is a Houston DJ. She's part of the LGBT community as well, but she's an amazing DJ. I've listened to a few of her sets in a few places. It's going to be a grand time. As well, we're going to have line dancing, good barbecue and food, as well as just resources too. As much as this is a family-friendly place, this is a place to get resources and mutual aid. So there will be people there giving out things that you may not even know that you needed, or resources that you didn't even know that you could find there will be there. So I'm very excited just to put that on. And as someone who just recently started organizing in Houston, I'm like, oh, what, like, very similar to like the things of Oakland and like, what do we need? I'm like, oh, okay, where do I start? And like for me, I'm like, oh, let's go to 3rd Ward, let's go to 5th Ward, like let's go to the folks where let's go to the places where the folks are, and like what are the resources that we need. One of the things that I realized as I'm going into like this environmental justice sector, that it overlaps with community organizing. Like all of it is in the same vein, right? All of it is intersections of like intersections of like Black folks leading in health disparities, or Black and brown folks leading in health disparities and asthma rates, and always having to have high cancer rates. And this is not genetics anymore. Like my grandmother's been living here. This isn't because my family got cancer. This is because the area that we live in is cancerous. So when you start to understand that and acknowledge the root in that, it's like, oh, I'm actually in the place that I'm supposed to be. So like that transition of going from like community organizing to environmental justice, at first I was like, oh my God, I don't know a lot of these terms and places and people. Like, what is fossil fuel? I don't know what that is. And all the things, right? And then getting into it and learning like, oh no, like y'all have been trying to kill us. Like y'all have been coming for us. Y'all have been trying to take us off the map. And this is where I need to be. So I can do what I need to do for my people. And more importantly, so I can teach other folks. Like I don't want to be a sole person that the lead of everything. No, I want to teach you how to fish. You can teach 100 people how to fish. And I think that's like like when I'm learning about organizing, community organizing, environmental justice, that's some of the things that I think about. Like, how do I teach you what I do so you can teach a million people what we do? So I think that's some of the things that I think about. And I'm excited about Sunday to do those type of things. I'm excited about the collaborations with these orgs. So
Well, I'm excited because it's going to be so many different organizations from around the state. Well, are we having anybody coming in from Washington? I know they're going to be from around the state. But I am... go ahead.
But I do want to add, and I'm glad you guys are talking about environmental injustices. That was one of my big fights.
That's right. She was fighting for us.
And then, of course, just making sure that the community we can't fight anything we don't understand. And so you remember I brought the neighborhood rights committee.
Yes, you did. But you have to understand it. Yes.
On, just how to navigate city government and legislators and why are these issues happening.
Yes.
And so I do encourage, you guys, as you talk about the summit that's happening, you trying to get in, but how we penetrate these spaces is by changing these policies. Right now, we have no zoning in the city of Houston.
No.
And so that is the underlying issue and the problem. And that's something that the community, as we're saying, like as we're advocating
but can you take that up?
Fighting. Yes, it's something I've been saying it for the longest. But nobody in the community no one has come to, they come to council and say, hey, there's no zoning. Like literally organizing around it, having a strategy on how we're going to dismantle this ordinance, this policy, even like with TCEQ, their policies are so lax around companies. So it's designed, and so that's what we should be fighting. Not saying that you guys did that, but like really thinking about how we're dismantling the policies that allow companies to operate. Fifth Ward, Third Ward, all these neighborhoods. Again, these are neighborhoods that was annexed into the city of Houston later. And it's designed
on purpose.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like
plug in one of our if I can plug in one of our tools. Thank you so much for saying that, because that's one thing it's a perfect segue. Is we just recently completed a tax abatement study for Harris County, and so we were exploring how are public dollars going from public entities to private oil and gas and petrochemical industries, and it's coming through those zoning laws that you're talking about, through cities as well as school districts. And in our study that we completed, we found that up to approximately $1 billion of tax dollars are going to private oil, gas, and petrochemical industries via these loopholes in their tax codes. Through the cities, it's done through these zoning laws. So they get these special exemptions for taxes, whereas normally everybody who lives in the city of Houston and has to pay an increase every time your property increases in value, you have to pay, but not for these industries. And so that was happening in the city of Houston, and the city of Houston came out to about $93 million that is going to these industries. And I think to your point of like 93 million. City of Pasadena, 75 million.
And so that's the type of information that we, like, as an advocate, I'm a council member, so I ran a nonprofit. Well, we know Top Texas Organizer Project, so that's what we did. We got the information and we went. But as a council member, I need you guys to bring that information and research to me. I just recently hired a policy director. We have a first policy director.
You can't do nothing if they don't bring it to
you. Bring it to me.
Okay.
So now he's looking into, as we talking about environmental justice, like the excessive gas stations that's in our neighborhoods. To me, that's an environmental hazard. One of them things explode, it's going to explode our whole neighborhoods. But then also, and then also it's bringing food that is not of quality food,
because you're not about to put a Sprouts,
right? So we're food deserts. Then you put Cheetos in that costs too much. So my policy person is looking at how we're using building codes, because we know we got zoning. So how are we looking at the building codes? How are we using similar policies? Like you can't open up a liquor store next to a school because what is that? So let's use those same type of policies and create them to protect our neighborhoods from the gas stations, from the hazards.
Exactly. And I think for the tax city, we've been working on how do we get people to understand what's happening. And I think one of the angles is like, how would you spend $93 million in your community, right, in the city of Houston? And we have all these ideas ready to happen. And so we're
roads,
exactly, the housing, the roads, the flooding, and I think it's money is a common language, right? People may not understand all the acronyms of every oil and gas company, but they know when they are being cheated, and they know when they are getting the short end of the stick. And we're not even this position is not against oil and gas. We're not saying they need to be anything. They need to be treated equally, right? They need to have the same standard that we are living up to. They need to also live and pay their fair share of taxes. And so that is a common entry point. And so I'm loving that we're having this conversation, because there is so many opportunities for collaboration. And especially when we know that when we bring to them our ideas, a lot of the times the question is like, well, how are you going to pay for it, right? Where are we going to get the money from? I hope that this study can really cut through that and say, this is where the money can come from.
You know, I want to, and I'm going to be quiet after this.
No, please don't.
I mean, like the community collaboration with, I mean, of course, again, I'm keep going back. I'm an organizer. You elected an organizer. So I organize people around, we got to work together to make these things happen. We were able to reverse a 2-decade-old ordinance, the ditch maintenance ordinance. They reversed. So we were able to reverse that. Now, this ordinance, and so you might be looking at it as a flooding, but it's also environmental, because if our ditches are not being maintained, you got trash piling up in it, and then what happened, the water is not flowing into the bayous, and then boom, we got a flood. When it's rain, there's nowhere for the water to go. But because community was now educated, like, this is what's causing it, so let's fight to get this change. And we working together. I'm inside like, hey, Mayor, we need to get this. He's like, no, and then I got the community coming in, council speaking at public comment, you know, like, we need, and then as a result, we've been able to get pump multi-millions of dollars into District B to address flood mitigation projects because of the collaboration. So, and as we were talking,
and that's climate change.
It's all coming up.
But we have done a whole lot with collaboration. So I need to make sure you guys share that information.
No,
with
and to even Brazoria County, we did a study before that, before Harris County. In Brazoria County, $2.1 billion is being given away to places like Freeport LNG, Dow Chemical. In the Coastal Bend, we did a study a year before that, and it was $2.6 billion. And that's just 4 counties in Texas that are giving away already over $5 billion.
What are they giving the money for? What are some examples?
So some of the examples, when it comes through school districts, it comes through a tax code that's given out specifically by school districts. And so they're usually giving them discounts to their property taxes that's coming out to the total of millions of dollars, where we would be getting that money otherwise. And they're getting it in exchange for, like, this stadium was paid for by Dow Chemical. This is the playground of Chevron and Shell. And sometimes even in certain tax codes, they're promising a certain amount of jobs. So this is for labor. If you're in labor, I want you to listen carefully, because they are claiming labor as beneficiaries to these tax abatements. They're saying, give us these tax breaks and we'll promise these amount of jobs. But they're not always bringing the jobs. And when they do, they're only temporary construction jobs. And when they are long-term career jobs, they're bringing in their people from out of the area, out of state. And so in one egregious example in the Harris County study, Occidental got around $75 million in tax abatements and only promised to bring 2 jobs. And that's $35 million per job. And you don't have to be a mathematician to know that those people are not getting that money, but they are being named as beneficiaries. And this is also for school district advocates, right? Even though most of the school districts in Houston are along the SHIP channel giving out these tax abatements, this impacts the entire state budget for education. So even though these individual school districts are getting into agreements, the state of Texas as a whole is looking at these agreements and be like, oh, well, they're getting their money from somewhere else, so we can lower the budget for education. And that impacts the entire state. So I'm hoping that this serves also as an avenue in for people who maybe don't see themselves as environmentalists, but understand, hey, my job is important and we need to get paid what we're worth. My community is being impacted. And if we're going to be impacted, you need to be compensating us, and schools and roads, all that stuff.
But I just want to say, Dummy, whenever they have the meeting, they're fighting. Like TCQ, it never be a lot of people there to fight. I went to Austin to testify on TCQ, and I went to Missouri to testify. But the main question that I was asking, because the methane, the new methane rule that EPA has out. Okay, so this long drawn out report, right, that they're fighting for clean air, right, the EPA, but how can the layman, it's not in layman terms to understand. So people with disabilities, people cannot read and write, don't understand it. They don't know what's killing them because it's not in layman terms, right? So they can't understand it. And I asked them, how are you engaging this information to the community where low to moderate income people live, people with learning disability can't read, right? And our youth with disabilities. And how they going to understand this long drawn-out report? So they said, well, we hadn't thought about that yet. Well, okay, if you hadn't thought about it, why are you giving this long drawn-out report and it's not in layman terms for them to understand it? And that's my fight. Because the black and brown people are dying. They don't die because they don't understand the technology. They don't understand these acronyms. If they understood it, that this was killing you, that room would have been full, right? Testifying, right? My kids are dealing with asthma. My kids dealing with cancer. My kids dealing with this. Okay, you telling me what these acronyms are? My people that lives in Brazoria, I got at least 300 family members in Brazoria County, right? They don't even know what LNG is. They don't know what fossil fuel is. They don't know what ozone. They don't know what methane. Methane is clear. You can't see it, right?
Yeah.
You can't see it. So I'm fighting to get the OGI camera up and come over there where I am.
Yeah.
We can see it because it's killing us over there.
I want to also plug in for Houston folks here. One of the programs that we have during the week of Sarah Week is a Solidarity Ride that's happening in 5th Ward and Houston Ship Channel. We're going to see some sites of pollution.
I did one this summer, and I educated a lot of people.
It's sometimes to see it up close is the most impactful and the best way to learn. The best teachers are the ones who show you where to look, but not what to see, right? And so we do this thing called Solidarity Rides, really taken from the freedom rides from the civil rights movement, to show up to these communities, bring some offerings, and learn and uplift the issues. And so we're doing one this Wednesday, March 12th. Check out futuregenerations.earth for the sign-up form and the details. We're going to be taking a bus to some sites on the Ship Channel, but also in the name of like building our vision, we're going to be visiting some community centers, some places of resistance, murals, and we're going to have, if you're from the 90s or you're from, the decade of disposable cameras, we're going to be giving all of our participants the cameras to kind of do a little photojournalism experience, right? To try to document from a place of without words, but just imagery on what the experience is, and uplift the art. That's what we need to help relay the messages to.
Well, I want to ask the council member, since she's here, because nobody has ever brought these issues to her, and I want her to tell us what do we need to do to bring to the fight, because we definitely need some zoning here in Houston, but we have to fight and we have to do it right. Right? We have to start out, but we have to be able to bring it to the council member.
And I'm gonna remind you guys that I am a grassroots organizer. So a lot of the issues that you're talking about, that's what I was actually like, how is the city and the state, giving these companies money, and as you're talking about with tax abatements. What I've been able to do since being in office is, and before then we was, pushing community benefits agreements, in the city didn't even much want to do anything with, they didn't want to touch community benefits agreements. But then now the city is now doing community benefits agreements, but how are we holding them accountable after the, and so that's what my office has been doing, holding them accountable from the East River Project, who's supposed to create the jobs now. Honestly, I came in after that project was already moving. Don't think that they created the jobs that they're supposed to create, but we just signed a tax abatement with Integra, who actually took over Wayfair, and they're bringing District B approximately, I think it's 150 plus jobs at entry level, $25 an hour, and these folks are being hired through the Be Successful initiative. We also have Mia Wolf, that's in 5th Ward. They received the tax abatement. There's 127 jobs that's coming for the residents in District B, 5th Ward, or whatever, and they're working closely with B6. So we're based on what my office is doing, again, because I'm organizer. I have a team that's like working closely with these companies after they sign those agreements. And we make sure that we're actually getting those jobs.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just for the record, we're not against tax abatements. We're just, for when they're going to billion-dollar industries, that's when it becomes a problematic thing, right? For like local businesses and local economies, that makes sense, right? We want to be able to bring those smaller jobs.
So like you guys, this is what y'all. I rely on these organizations to bring me the information.
Absolutely,
just let me know what you got.
You can't do nothing about it.
Exactly.
So it's like, but if you bring it to me, I'm like, I can just plug it into. And I know I already said it.
Our vision of like how we bring it is to like bring it with the community, right? So like we're in the sort of spreading it with community, building coalitions with not just environmental folks, but like education.
That's fine. But just set up a meeting with my office, and then we can
love to do that.
Get the research y'all have.
Ooh, I'm excited.
She is
I'm excited. This is perfect.
I love her. because she's such an organizer, and she gets out there and she makes it happen, right? You promise her something, she gonna hold you
and
to
then
it,
I
baby.
see the thing about me is, and I didn't realize how smart I was.
True that.
Like you really don't be realizing you're smart like that, but then you're like, yeah, I'm really smart.
You guys don't know this? Y'all don't know this?
I look at it's like I have a bird's eye view of everything. It's like all the pieces. You know how a person play chess and you just looking at the chess. That's me. I see everything. I'm constantly moving it.
Right.
And as I'm having conversation, I'm adding, I'm putting things into place. And it's like it's bridging those gaps of what's missing. Yes.
Network weaving. That's what I've known it as.
Yeah. So I'm always just,
I love that.
So I'm able to. And then it's exciting when someone can see the vision.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
if they can't see the vision, it's kind of hard. So you have to really be hands-on with them. But if they can see the vision, and my team, good, they can see the vision. They sometimes they come to opportunities. I talk to this person, council member, and it'd be good to be part. I'm like, okay, let's do it. You know, and so that's what it's about.
Yes, especially in these times, right? Because I think the worker bees are being invisibilized, right? We only want to focus on all the things going wrong, but there are brilliant people out there doing brilliant work,
things,
right? And so we need to see each other and uplift each other.
And it's brilliant people that have learned how to navigate in the dark. That's me. So during tough times, every year it's like, organized. You're constantly fighting for stuff. So I'm like, versus being reactive, I'm gonna be proactive. I'm going to predict that this might happen. If this happens, then I'm have this set up right here to where we can navigate why it's dark. You don't have to worry.
That's a spiritual message too.
Because we have to be able to move because we're going to have it. It's not going to happen.
Yes.
We like right now we got this president. We're going to have another one like that afterwards. So let's just get our tools, pull out, have you some tools in your back pocket and pull it out and be ready and be like, okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, because this is reality, and so that's where I'm at. Just learn as much as you put stuff in place and be ready for the dark times.
Amen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want the congresswoman to say something about our congressman that just passed away. Let's have a moment of silence for about 2 minutes, please, of silence. I want to say something. I know the council member worked with him, but he was a very, very special friend for me. I know him for about 35 years. He was a friend of my husband. But I just want her to say something. She worked with him a lot, and they was very, very close friends. So, Councilwoman, can you say a little bit about our council?
Yeah, our congressman, our mayor, our state rep.
Let them know what kind of hero he was.
He was, I can say this was my first term was working with Mayor. I'm gonna call him Mayor Turner.
Right.
Everybody
still call him that.
And when I say it was a blessing to be able to work with him, we didn't agree on everything all the time. But if you notice, we didn't have a lot of me and him didn't go at it on the forefront because he had an open door.
Yes.
And he was always ready to talk to me and try to figure it out. I mean, his main concern was making sure that District B and all the other parts of the city, because he always wanted to focus on every other part of the city. Right? He can't focus on every part. Right. They don't have the same problem that we have. So he was like a father, to all his children, but he listened to each and every last one of us, came up with innovative ways to, make sure our projects that I got what I needed and the district got what they needed, that the projects move forward. Again, open door policy, love to dance, love to laugh.
Yes, he loved
to
to
get an attitude with you, but
he's
he's going to continue to, it was a good working relationship. We've been able to get in District B, as I was talking about earlier, that reverse the ditch maintenance ordinance, millions in flood mitigation project, our parks upgraded from the 50-50, libraries completed, like we were able to get so much accomplished under Mayor Turner's leadership. I'm saying it's a blessing. I met Mayor Turner, state rep, when he was state rep, when my son was in the system. Right. Okay. And so, like, my relationship with a lot of the elected officials that was in office when my son was in the system is a little different, because I still have like a little salty taste in my mouth because we had so many people and that was our leaders in the system, but nobody was talking about our kids being warehoused across. Nobody was fighting for it. Nobody. And so I'm still, you're like, okay, y'all was all in office when it was happening.
Right.
But Turner, State Representative Turner, his chief of staff, Allison Brock, you remember Alan? He worked one-on-one with us. He made sure that even though he wasn't like in the front line, he had his team there working with us, supporting us. And so we had a good leader. He was a good leader for all communities, and he's going to be deeply missed.
Right, deeply missed.
He's going to be deeply missed, and I learned a lot from him. And so we're just gonna take it one day at a time. It's difficult because we lost two, Sheila, and then and these were like
it's so close,
our
like
childhood,
like a year apart. Yeah,
not even much a year apart. It was 6 months apart. She passed away in July, and he
in March. Yeah, it's been 6 months. I know.
So to Ashley, his family, Ashley, his son-in-law, he's a new grandfather.
Yes.
But he was always there for me. Me and Mayor was talking about it.
Yeah.
It was like he was always there. He showed up to everything that we did.
Everything.
We invited him. He was right there. He showed up. He was like, he was the people's mayor. He was the people's leader. He was the people's
and he was starting off being our congressman.
I want to also, on this note of like honoring those that came before us, right? One of the things that we're having on Sunday for the future is a climate altar. It's an altar meant to honor all the folks who have been impacted or have been leading in like this environmental movement.
Yes.
And we did it last year. And we had a little sort of New Orleans inspired funeral procession to honor all the people. So I want to make an open request for people to bring an offering to the altar. It's a non-denominational altar. So if you have a photo, maybe some flowers, a note that reminds you of the person, we want to honor these people. And we need to, in order for us to be able to confront what we need to confront. So please, if you have a picture, anything like that, we would love for you to bring it to Sunday.
Yeah, because it's very, very important. Okay, you guys, I'm going to let each one of you guys say something, close out, but we're at our end, okay? You say something, let Councilwoman be last.
Please come to our Sunday Fun Day event. If you could pass me the flyer, I can hold it up. If y'all can get a little screen grab of this. Okay, so please come to our event. I'm very excited for it. I'm excited to be organizing in Houston. It is Sunday, March 9th. It's from 12 to 6. Discovery Green, Waterside Landing. Please, please, please come.
And thank you so much, Dr. Scott, for having us. Thank you, Councilwoman, for sharing your knowledge, and Anik for sharing your experience. I'm a true believer that, our collective knowledge and our collective skills are what's going to get us out of this mess. And it's going to uplift our souls. It's going to be hard, but grateful to you all. And thank you for having me. And please, we'll see you at March for the Future and Sunday for the Future. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. And thank you, Ms. Scott, for allowing me to come share the amazing things that we're doing in the best district in the city of Houston, District B.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And it was great to hear about the amazing work that you guys doing. Looking forward to collaborating. Please get that flyer to my office so that we can put it in our newsletter and pump it out to let folks know, that's happening. And for those who are my District B constituents, even if you're not in the district, feel free to reach out to us, sign up for the buzz at 832-393-3009 or email us at districtb@houstontx.gov. Sign up for the buzz so you can learn about all the amazing stuff that we're doing, that you can get plugged in. How we're going to change things within our communities is this going to take all of us. Everybody don't organize on the various levels. Sometimes you just need people just to show up and have bodies. You have you need people in meetings. You need people that probably like to go and speak at council. But we all have a role to play. Maybe you like to cook. Maybe you can like to provide the food for the meetings or whatever. But get involved. When you get involved, you start understanding. I always say we become woke. And when you become woke, that's when things change. Woke is like a dangerous thing. But for us, it'd be a good thing. So thank you again, Ms. Scott, for allowing me to be here, and y'all have a enjoy this beautiful weather, blessed week.
Right. Amen. And before I close, I want to thank Mr. Mike Kahn for allowing us to be the show. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. He's one of our board members. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Just wanted to say this is the end of our show. Take care. Be blessed. Remember to tell someone that you love them and smile. All right? Radiodabang love you. Safe Diversity love you.